I'm Dr. Christopher Lloyd, and this is Havisham in Kent. It's a quiet place, a beautiful place, but also a mysterious place. For it was here in the swelteringly hot September of 1980 that a local eccentric, Miles Fornoff, just disappeared. Tonight, I'm going to talk you through one of the most famous cases that I and my late partner in psychical research, Francis Cohen, ever undertook. The Havisham Forest Incident. In the summer of 1980, we had spent several hard weeks measuring the depth of Loch Ness in our boat, the Casper Hauser. Sadly, the Hauser was sunk when we collided with a local photographer, so we found our tour cut short and ourselves at a loose end. So we were very relieved to find a letter waiting for us from Beryl Hodges, an East Kent member of Busapsi. She told us there was something going on here of colossal importance that we had to investigate. The disappearance of Miles Fornoff. Pensioner Miles Fornoff had lived in Havisham all his life. Cohen interviewed everybody who knew Fornoff, and pretty soon a picture began to emerge of a man who was grumpy, shirty, curmudgeonly, and obsessed with UAVFs, UAFs, unidentified aerial visual phenomena. In the weeks leading up to his disappearance, his neighbours told us his behaviour had become increasingly bizarre.
Now, Mrs. Bradstreet, what can you tell us about Mr. Fornoff?
Kept himself to himself. He spent a lot of his time just chasing kids out of his apple trees. It was scrumping.
The last person to see Fornoff alive was a local boy, Tim Cardew. He'd been hiding in Fornoff's garden the night of the disappearance, brought there, he said, by a strange light.
Now, Tim, if I can just summarise what you told us, you said you saw this kind of white light which drew you to the house, and that was where you ran into Fornoff. You said you saw a silver craft appear and some extraterrestrial beings descended from a golden ramp, which is why you took your knife out. And then a huge burst of energy knocked you out, and that's the last thing you remember. Is that correct? Yeah.
Could this burnt patch of grass be evidence of Fornoff's last moments? Did he spontaneously combust, or was he taken? We measured that burnt patch with our custom-built SRE meter, or SRImeter. It showed that there were enormously high levels of supernatural residual energy. We used our other equipment and found that there were also high levels of PKE and SJP. The wood felt colder than the open land around, but perhaps most importantly, to both Cohen and I, the wood just felt different. Cohen and I slept in these woods for months. We shared a two-man bivouac tent, monitored our recording equipment 24 hours a day by sleeping shifts, hoping to see just some of the magic that Tim Cardew claimed to have seen in these very woods. We saw nothing. Nothing, that is, until the night of November the 5th. The sky was alive with lights that night. They covered it. It was aflame. Now, it's just possible that there is an innocent explanation for those lights, but it's unlikely. We preferred to think that they were hard evidence of mysterious forces at work. That theory was only confirmed when, 2 days after Tim Cardew was charged with the murder of Miles Fornoff, his mother Helen came to us with a story which was amazing.
I too saw the craft. It seemed to have made use of a lot of pod technology. It was flashing in parts.
Was it very futuristic?
Yes.
Now it all made sense. The strange lights we'd seen, the high levels of SRI, PKE and SJP, and the strange sense of something awry in the wood. It was surely certain, 100% certain, that Miles Fornoff had been kidnapped by what we called in our 1972 book, Space Ghosts, Face to Face with God, 9th grade ethereal spirits. This meant one other thing. Our new book, Where in the Cosmos is Miles Fornoff, would be a worldwide bestseller. Sadly, a combination of gullibility and conspiracy meant that was not to be. Early in 1981, the remains of Miles Fornoff were found in a shallow grave very near where he disappeared. Tim Cardew was convicted of murder. It seemed obvious to me and to Cohen that forces outside the current realms of our understanding had been involved in Fornoff's disappearance. Could it be that some sort of extraterrestrial society had returned the parts of Fornoff's body for which they had no further use? Or could it be that our own government, in an effort to cover up their collusion with an alien civilization, planted the remains themselves and made young Karju their fall guy? With all of the data at our disposal, Cohen and I knew that Tim Karju was innocent. We campaigned for years to have him released. The authorities just weren't interested in our meticulously collated evidence. He languishes in jail to this day. Sales of Where in the Cosmos is Miles Fornoff were disappointing. The biggest tragedy, though, is that we'll never really know whether this was a murder, ninth grade spirits, or just another case of the unknown. And the magazine which accompanies this series is available in all good newsagents now.